Yo, how y'all doing? I just the title's wrong, but it's whatever. It's the third. No, it should be right. All right. Anyways, we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna get into market review. I'm gonna take off all of these drawings first, just to kind of see the charts from like a naked perspective, and then we can put on some lipstick. But basically, this was the price action we had today. Looking back, and this is all hindsight. I did have an accurate reading of what price wanted to do, but that's not to shine my own shoes. That's just how price delivered. We're just seeing how price delivered today. We come up, we take this intermediate term high, and then we sell off. I believe that we might have had SMT at the highs, but I don't really care too much about the SMT at the highs too much. But we can see there should be some form of SMT. It's not that clean, so I'm not gonna really reference to it. But we do have this as overall SMT because ES has clearly taken these highs, and then NQ has not. But yeah, I'm not gonna mark out our SMT. We come up, we take this high at a certain time of the day. We take it at 9:30, and then we change states of delivery right here on the 15-minute chart, and then price breaks down, displacement lower. This is left as a breakaway gap, and then we trade into this one, and then we displace lower into this 15-minute fair value gap. Is also overlapped with the BPR right here. We have this sell side move coupled with this buy side move. We come into this area, and therefore we don't really have any interest of continuing lower to this low. This now becomes a short-term low. Technically, this now becomes an intermediate-term low, and this now becomes your other short-term low. So now this is a short-term or an intermediate-term low. And that's what I'm kind of looking at in terms of my bias upcoming. Basically, then we sell off. Then we change state delivery here with that move right there. And we barely don't come back into this fair value gap. I think we might have like barely trade into this fair value gap institutional order flow entry drill. And then for the rest of the day, we end up just having this buy program to rebalance to this imbalance that never got filled. That 15-minute breakaway gap. It never got filled, and then that's kind of where we closed. Right at 4, it was within that 15-minute imbalance. All right, now I'm gonna throw on the annotations, and we can just kind of go through this overall day. And I know it might be a lot, but look at what happens. We come up at 9:30. At 9:30, and the high of day is actually made at this previous new day opening gap. Is this one right here is what I'm referring to, from Wednesday to Thursday's trading. We have a new day opening gap. And that's exactly where price comes back up into and creates the high of the day right there at a new day opening gap. And coming into the session, we have all this low resistance liquidity, all this low resistance liquidity. We're coming into an external high. So what is price likely to do? Once we come up, we take this high into new day opening gap. What is price more likely to do? Expand towards buy side up here, or are we more likely to break down? And that's exactly what we do. We break down. We have low resistance liquidity. And now I believe this is London low. London low becomes drawn liquidity. And I do want to point out that there could have been like some sort of, you could have traded the buy model over, which I guess I might backtest this or go over this later, or screw it, we can go over it later in this review. But basically we had SMT at these lows here, and there's probably an entry up to this high, so you could have traded this during London. I know we had SMT here, and we're clearly bullish order flow after that, so that now becomes a draw on liquidity. So then we break down. It was a Monday today. I don't know if I said that, but we had a Monday, and we had red folder news at 9:45 and 10. Sorry, I'll kind of delayed with that. So we had news at 9:45, and then we had news at 10. So that's what ends up happening. We have news at 9:45. That creates high a day, and then we break down, change the state delivery here, and then this 5-minute fair value gap. This could be an entry on the 5-minute, just taking an entry within this fair value gap. Then we also form SMT. We form SMT here within this fair value gap. And I mean, I don't care to like call things. That's not me. But basically, I was anticipating this to likely expand us lower, and that's what ends up happening. We have SMT. You have all the framework around that trade, and now you're just catching an expansion move here. And then look at where we expand to. We expand straight to that new week opening gap right here. And then we actually initially move higher, but what are we doing here? We're just inducing liquidity into the market to trade to a fair value gap. And notice here on this fair value gap, we fail to break above, or we fail to close above with a body above 50% of that fair value gap. And once I drop to 1 minute, I'll go over that. But basically, short-term high, intermediate-term high, short-term high. Knowing that structure right here on the 1 minute could have set you up for a trade to possibly trade to this low down here. You have this low. That's that Sunday opening low. No, this is a low on Sunday, but basically a sell side level. There's not really too much narrative around this sell side liquidity, which is why I don't love it. And then we end up going lower to rebalance where that 15-minute fair value gap. It also is a 5-minute fair value gap. We end up filling actually to the tick pretty much of this full gap. I didn't notice that, but yeah, we end up filling up this full gap, and then we end up hitting higher. Because you see how here we have sell side delivery right here. And then this is all buy side delivery. So I don't think price really needs to head back here and lower because we've had that sell side delivery. If that kind of makes sense, I mean, that just might just be cherry picked. That might just be hindsight. But that's what I kind of believe. And as well as that, you had -3 standard deviation with the low a day. For standard deviation, I marked out the last manipulation move with the wicks. I included the wicks here. I actually want to get a measurement with the bodies as well. See, -4 does line up, and it could give you a good target, but by framing with the wicks here with that last manipulation move, -3 is that low of the day. And as well as that, if you zoom out to the 4-hour chart, I'm going to pull this up on the 4-hour. This is mean threshold of this bearish order block, or bullish order block, sorry. Causes a break of structure, induces a higher time key level. There's narrative around this order block, and that's where we end up creating the low a day. Once low a day is created, we end up pretty much displacing higher, and I honestly don't really love this price action, and I'm not really so much of a PM session trader myself, but basically we end up entering a buy program. Fair value gaps get respected. I don't know if we retraced equilibrium in here. We didn't. I don't really use equilibrium that much anymore in my analysis, but basically I wanted to see, if you guys are in my Discord, I wanted to see price trade back down to this order block, but price never needed to, or never did. So I thought that we could have possibly come back down to this order block. We never did, and that's okay. So I wasn't really looking to engage within the PM session myself. So let's get into the 1 minute chart. The old fine details, Now we're just refining details and just being able to see them a little bit clearer. So right here we come up, we take buy side in that new week opening gap, and then we immediately displace lower. Now my eyes are fixed on that London low. We know that prices want to go higher. We've just shifted over. We've displaced lower. Cool. You don't need to be in on the top of this market. You don't. You just need some meat in between that, especially on a Monday. Best to be a little bit patient. We come back up, and where do we tick to exactly? Breaker. This is now a breakaway gap. Price doesn't need to trade back within here. We come back up to that breaker. We form SMT confirming that, and this also is that 10 a.m. news release that manipulates us higher, fakes out traders or entices traders or maybe even fills traders, and then we tap that order block or breaker block, and then we start displacing lower. And the reason why I'm not really looking to engage within this fair value gap, just because I'm waiting, because I know that price could possibly retrace back up into this 5-minute fair value gap. If we look at this 5-minute gap, I mean, technically we did trade in that gap already, so I'm waiting, and I don't necessarily, if I were to trade this, we're just tape reading today, but if I were to trade this, I wouldn't feel comfortable taking an entry and discount. That's not what I want to do. And even if you were to take a trade here, you probably could have just took your L and took it in pride. But basically, we come down here and we create this like kind of double bottom narrative. And then we kind of chop around, and I fail to see this real time. but we're respecting constant encroachment of this fair value gap and constant encroachment of this wick on the 5 minute perfectly. That's what those levels are. This also is this high, but look at how well we're respecting those levels, and then we displace lower from that, come back, inverse fair value gap. Also, this was a 2 minute fair value gap, and this was kind of like the entry per se that I had in on the live stream that I wanted to see get respected, and that's what ends up happening. 2 minute fair value gap, come up, a little bit of drawdown. We trade to the bottom of that inverse, and boom, we flush lower, straight to that new week opening gap. You have lows here that you could have had TPs at, and then you could have had that new week opening gap. Overall, from here to, we'll just say, here to a recent low, that's around that's 50 points right there. That is a good trade, I would say. And then we end up coming in a new week opening gap. You could have left your runners, you could have left your trade on, or you look to take it off there if you were to enter up here. We come up in this gap, come up into this 1 minute fair value gap within that 5 minute fair value gap. You could refine that a little bit more, because if we see this area on the lower time frame, all of this is balanced. So therefore, price doesn't really need to trade up here. That's why this area is left as a breakaway, because it's balanced on the lower time frame. On the 1 minute time frame, there's sell side, buy side, sell side, buy side, and then here it's just sell side. So we're gonna reprice back up to there. Exactly what we end up doing. We have a short-term high here, intermediate term high, and then now this becomes a short-term high, or this becomes a short-term high, but now this becomes an intermediate term high. But I'm just labeling it a short-term high for right now, and we end up displacing lower. So you know that we're in bullish market structure. We have short, or this could be an intermediate term high, and this could be a long-term high. But I really only like classifying them as long-term highs or intermediate term highs and short-term highs, because I think like long-term highs kind of make it a little bit confusing. Basically, short-term high, intermediate term high, short-term high right there. Then we break lower. This could have been an entry. Once we break down, paired with that order block range right there, it probably becomes an order block on like the 2 minute. Let's go and look. Yeah, what does that become? Order block on the 2 minute. Then price displaces lower. And then we break down into those lower days. I'm not really looking to trade lunch, so I don't really even look to trade at lunch. But I will say, I was looking at this fair value gap. This price displaced very quickly on the 1 minute, and I've been doing a little bit more back testing with this, but I'll just leave it at this, to where the times that I've seen us have like big fair value gaps on the 1 minute, we want to trade back into them at some point throughout the day. So I was looking at that I was looking at that, and this now becomes accumulation, and then we manipulate into those key levels, and then we distribute higher. For me, I'm not the type of trader to trade on some of this. We didn't really get an entry offered for my liking, so I wasn't really looking to gauges. And then we have silver bullet hour. Silver bullet hour starts here. We manipulate lower, and this is just a manipulation move. We form SMT, displacing higher, and this could have been your possible silver bullet if you were to trade that. Then we come back up, accumulate a new week opening gap. We probably form SMT here. I actually didn't see if we, wait, is that equal low? Okay, I didn't pay attention to that, but we probably have SMT there. SMT with this low? No, it's gotta be with YM. Hold up. I don't think we have SMT. Okay, we have SMT. Like it's not the greatest example, but we do. It is there. This low right here. This low isn't taken on NQ. This low's all the way down here. So yeah, you do have some divergence there. And then price heads where? All the way up to that 15-minute gap that was framed as a breakaway earlier. So that's where price delivers to this gap. That's kind of where we close out. All right, I'm gonna remove all these annotations because I don't really need them on my chart anymore. But yeah, that was kind of today's price action. I thought it was pretty textbook. It was pretty nice. But on a Monday, I'm looking to kind of de-risk myself, kind of see what Monday is going to do to set us up for the rest of the week. Now that Monday has happened, we're able to go into the upcoming days with a lot better read and gauge on price, in my opinion. All right, and now let me see. Let's pull up the news and let's see what type of news we have the rest of the week. We have 10 a.m. news, Jolt jobs opening, so I doubt that that's really going to do much. Then we have, oh yeah, it's NFP week. So if you're trading this, probably look to trade by a Wednesday AM session. Be done by then. I'm not going to look to be engaged past Wednesday, but I will be live streaming on Thursday and Friday. So that's what I'll be doing. So NFP week, NFP protocol. Don't do yourself harm when you don't need it. All right, but basically just by looking at this chart right now, let me clear off some of these. I'm just going to clear out all these annotations. I don't really need these on my chart anymore. I'm gonna leave a new week opening gap just for purposes, but basically just by looking at this, you have this big BPR. We come back and now we're respecting it. We had that 4-hour down close candle, got respected very nicely, and this is looking like we're clearly want to go to buy side, and this is looking like this becomes low resistance liquidity. I don't think we're going to put a top in like this in the market. I think we're definitely heading back to buy side. So I think throughout the rest of the week, we're going to have a buy model. That's what I think is going to happen. And obviously I could get proved wrong, but we're more likely to head higher than expand lower. Like it's just clear. We also have SMT at the lows. I believe we have SMT between these lows right here with ES. Let's fact check that real quick. Yeah, right here we have SMT. And what I do like on ES is that we've left this nice, clean, original consolidation. This could get taken before we wake up, but I think that we are going to possibly accumulate lower. That's what I'm hoping for, and then have like a clear Judas swing. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see overall. Low resistance liquidity. I think we're heading back higher. That's where I think we're headed, and that's kind of really all they have. Let's check out some other pairs. Let's check out some other stuff while we're here. Basically, gold. I don't want to read on gold. Yeah, I don't like gold. Daily fair value gap. We took in these lows here. This look like this could be soup. I don't like it though. I don't like it though. All right, let's look at dollar. Let's look at dollar, and let me remove all these. Don't really need all these on. Basically, on dollar, this looks bearish. I think we're heading towards this weekly fair value gap now. I think it's clear. We want to go to these lows of this weekly imbalance. Also, kind of this weekly order block we're within right now. What could possibly be sensitive area? Consequent encroachment. Consequent encroachment is the low end of this fair value gap, so that's where my draw on liquidity is. We just had huge displacement. They lower. And also look at what we're doing here. We're generating liquidity. We're inducing. So this isn't bearish for long. So I think we're going to be short-term bearish here. Well, relative. I think we're going to be bearish for a minute here. Well, not a minute, but come back down. Sorry, oops. Come back down into the weekly imbalance, which I believe is right here. And then I think we're going to displace higher after that. That's what I think could happen. But obviously, if the market shows us something else, then I can switch my bias if it needs to be. Okay, EURUSD. EURUSD is both these. It looks very bullish. There was a nice draw on liquidity today. If you were in the live stream, I pointed it out, or I was talking about it. These equal highs here overlap with that imbalance. That becomes a high probability draw on liquidity. We come back down into this fair value gap, and then boom. Very nice. Very nice to see that. Let's look at GU. GU, we have SMT at the lows. We have rebalanced just this little imbalance. This just looks like beautiful delivery. This is like beautiful delivery in my opinion. And I think we're still heading to buy side up here ultimately. Let's look at Bitcoin because Bitcoin kind of disappointed me last week. I thought that we were ready to head higher before we were. I thought maybe we were ready here, maybe we were ready here, maybe we were ready here, but now we put in this low here. So I suspect that this will likely hold, and I think that Bitcoin is absolutely ready to head into this buy model, and I think that we're going to take buy side soon. Within the next 2 weeks. Within the next 2 weeks, I thought that this was going to be a sharp move higher, but that was incorrect because we want to consolidate and reaccumulate more long orders here before then pushing higher. Us to go from here to here after this energetic move, we're not going to do that instantly. Once with the retracement, we're going to consolidate for a little bit. Like this no longer, this isn't just going to be a big acceleration to a big retracement to a big acceleration. That it's more likely to big acceleration lower, consolidate, big acceleration higher. That's what I'm looking at. The trade thesis is still validated. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of looking at. And I don't know what this pair is. I don't ever trade this, and I don't really want to look at it. But it's looking like we could have IRL to ERL here. IRL to ERL. That's what could possibly happen on this pair. We put in that double top, so we'll see what this pair does. All right, and that's kind of my analysis. That's kind of what I went over, and then that's kind of how what I saw in the market today. And I'll be live. Oh, I won't be live tomorrow because I'm getting surgery on my. I get a tooth pulled, so I won't be live tomorrow. I will be live probably Wednesday, but we'll see how I'm feeling. So I will keep you guys updated, and I appreciate the love and support. And I'll be back. We'll be back soon. If it's not tomorrow, you guys now know why I'm getting my tooth pulled. So that's kind of just unfortunate. But anyways, have a good one.